Victorian era. In the words of John Stuart Mill, Victorian age is considered to be the age of transition. It witnessed an influx of great literary and intellectual caliber by the expanding horizons of education, scientific discoveries, and literacy. It opened the doors to skepticism that increased the desire to question religion, religious texts, and politics that stemmed from age old beliefs and ideas. The Victorian era is named after Queen Victoria, the time duration of Queen Victoria's rule from 1837 to 1901. Some of the major events that influenced the minds of the intellectuals as well as the commoners in Britain were the publication of Karl Marx's Communist Manifesto and Charles Darwin's Origin of Species, along with the Great Industrial Revolution. These events not only sparked curiosity and wonder, but also brought in doubt and criticism of the old as well as the new. Major developments in the field of science were witnessed during this era. Charles Darwin's On the Origin of Species is considered to be a catalyst in challenging several ideas of the Victorians about evolution, that in turn questioned religious teachings. Darwin's work is termed as scientific literature, and its simplified approach made it a subject of interest and debate among the general public. Darwin's evolutionary theory took long time to be widely accepted, but it dramatically changed thought and literature of the era. The Communist Manifesto, published in February 1848 by Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels, is seen as an influential document that gave a deep insight into politics and society. Marx's economic and social analysis in the document is said to be a critique of the capitalist British society. This document examines the economic, social, and political conditions in Britain due to industrialization that resulted into social inequality and class struggle. Communist Manifesto paved a way to focus on the Victorian boom and the underlying consequences of the capitalist Britain that was causing a social and economic gap, making the rich richer and the poor poorer. The Industrial Revolution transformed the Victorian age. It was a time of great economic growth and technological discoveries that resulted into migration of young population from rural areas to cities. Many writers in their works reflected on this transformation, urbanization, and the troubles caused by an industrialized society. Another important transformation during the Victorian era was the influence of literature that became more prevalent in society. This was a result of increasing literacy rate, compulsory education, and technological advances in the field of printing that made reading materials widely accessible and available to the general public. Before the technological advancement in the field of printing, reading was only considered as a privilege of the rich and the wealthy. Victorian age marked a boom in the printing industry, opening new avenues for writers and poets to reach the common public. Periodicals and magazines started gaining popularity as it consisted of news articles, satiric essays, poetry, and fiction. Victorian novel became a dominant literary medium that was widely preferred by readers. Novels of the Victorian age portrayed realistic settings and conditions. Realism emerged as a popular feature of the age as it mirrored realistic scenes, situations, complexities, and the struggles of lifelike characters in a mundane everyday setting. Prominent and prolific writers, authors, and poets gradually started gaining popularity by reaching the masses. Charles Dickens and Thomas Hardy presented the grim but real scenario of the time. Several poets like Elizabeth Barrett Browning and Robert Browning, Matthew Arnold, and Alfred Lord Tennyson became household names. They successfully conveyed their ideas and feelings using the medium of literature. But more importantly, they created an awareness and understanding of the rapidly changing notions of science, politics, religion, and morality in the minds of the readers. They brought to light the massive structural changes that reshaped the Victorian society. These poets experimented with the structure and style of poetry. Vivid imagery and storytelling with a narrative style were the key features of Victorian poetry. Poetry was laden with descriptions and imagery to give the readers a picturesque experience. Dramatic monologue was an emerging form of poetry. Victorian works focused on themes like social and economic inequality and exploitation of labor. Industrialization also pushed the writers to express their concerns over urbanization, migration, unemployment, and poverty. Growing concerns over child labor, political and social corruption also surfaced in many novels and stories. Whereas morality, religion, life, and death can also be observed in major Victorian works. Victorian writings are often considered to be sullen and pessimistic as it exposed the ambitious, evolving, industrialized world of the Victorian age.